Are you a developer wanting to start Android development in 2020, or you're just curious about Android and Android app development, or you're an IT startup looking for the best possible ways to reach the African market? Then this video is for you. Here's what you need to know before starting Android development in 2020. Let's start by reviewing what is Android. Android is the most popular mobile operating system primarily designed for touchscreen devices. Android was created from a modified version of the Linux kernel and is owned and primarily maintained by Google. At the time of recording of this video, the latest version of Android is Android 10. Currently, Android powers about 2.5 billion devices worldwide. These devices ranges from mobile phones to tablets, smartwatches, smart TVs, and even Android of Things. That is Android used to power Internet of Things devices. Looking at some statistics worldwide, it shows that Android powers 74.17% of the mobile phones worldwide, followed by iOS with 24.75%, and the rest combined, that is iOS, Samsung, Windows, and some unknown system not mentioned here, only have 1.08%. In Africa, Android powers 83.78% of mobile phones, followed by iOS with 11.28%, and the others combined have about 5%, I think so. So this clearly shows that if you're an IT startup based in Africa and reaching your customer through mobile phones and you need to create a mobile app, and Android should be the first target you should think of. So going further into the statistics, look at the statistics in Sub-Saharan Africa on mobile penetration. This shows that in 2018 we had 456 million unique mobile subscribers, and projection share shows that in 2025 we're going to have 623 million subscribers. That is about 50% of the population will be reachable through a mobile phone by 2025. This is a big opportunity for IT startups and for developers in Africa. Now, looking at the technologies used to develop these Android applications, these technologies can be classified into two categories, that is the native and the hybrid. The native technologies create what we call native applications, that is applications which can only run on a specific system. And for hybrid technologies, it creates hybrid apps. The hybrid apps can be classified into two subcategories, that is the native compile apps and the web views. The native compile apps are actually applications that runs like native and can access the device features and device sensors, while the web views are just websites that are packaged and released as apps, but actually runs on the web view. Now, both of these have both their advantages and disadvantages. So let's look at the advantages of native applications. Native applications are very fast. In Android, the native apps run at 60 frames per second. Native applications can access all the device features and sensors, and they are really interactive and intuitive, and they are really good for computationally intensive tasks like video games. And native application can access the latest API features. Wow, so the disadvantages of these native apps are that they can just be released for a single platform. That is, if you build an app using a native technology for Android, it can only be used for Android, so it cannot be used for iOS or whatever. So, and usually native apps are more expensive, because in the case where you release an app for Android and this app gains attraction, you have many customers, and tomorrow you want to release an app for iOS, this is a new code base, new set of developers. So native apps tend to be usually more expensive, and because the developers consider native app technologies to be a bit more complicated, and usually native apps are also hard to maintain in a sense that if you have an app that is being released for Android and iOS, and which are both native apps, you have two sets of developers which are required to maintain this application. That is it. So for hybrid apps, the advantage of this is that we have a single code base. In hybrid apps, the single code you have can be used and released for multiple platforms. That is, use a single code to create an app which will run on Android, and the same code to be used to create an app that will run on iOS and BlackBerry on Windows Phone. Hybrid apps are also usually cheaper to develop and usually faster to develop, since these technologies are usually less complicated. So what's the disadvantage of the hybrid apps? There are disadvantages in the sense that usually hybrid apps are slower than native apps, but recent updates on the hybrid apps framework shows that this is being solved as time goes by, because for example in Flutter, apps released with Flutter actually runs also at 60 frames per second like native Android applications. So there's constant improvement on hybrid app technologies, and I think you should also consider it. Yes, hybrid apps can also be less interactive and may not have the latest API features, because when there's update on the Android system, it's first released for native APIs. In some cases, yes, hybrid apps may not be able to access the device features. It all depends on the framework you use to create your app. So let's look at the native and hybrid technologies used to develop Android applications. Let's start with native. The first one is Java. Java is the initial and still the most popular language used for Android native applications. We also have Kotlin, which is a programming language developed by JetBrains and is currently the recommended and promoted language by Google for Android native applications. Kotlin can also be used to develop multi-platform apps, but I guess Kotlin is not yet popular for that. So for hybrid apps, we have Flutter. Flutter is Google open source UI software development kit. It makes use of a programming language called Dart. That is a programming language developed and maintained by Google. Flutter is very amazing, and statistics and many people are saying Flutter is the best framework for hybrid apps. So the next one is React Native. React Native is the creation of React Native by Facebook was a major innovation in the world of cross-platform apps. React Native made use of JavaScript to create amazing native-like cross-platform apps. We also have Xamarin. Xamarin is an open source framework. Xamarin is an open source UI framework owned by Microsoft. Xamarin makes use of C# to create beautiful, amazing apps. So if you come from a .NET background, or if you are very versed with C#, I think Xamarin may be an easy step for you. The next one is Ionic. Ionic is another interesting platform, but unlike other platforms mentioned above, apps created with Ionic are actually apps wrapped and displayed as web view. Ionic was created with AngularJS and it was created on top of Apache Cordova. So the next one is Apache Cordova. Apache Cordova is an open source mobile development framework owned by Apache. It uses HTML, CSS, Java, and JavaScript to create beautiful apps, which runs on a web view, of course. So these apps may be good for startups, which have good for startups which don't have enough budget and which want to release their website without thinking about how to design something specific. So it may suit a use case of a startup or a developer coming from a web background, which just want to release his website as a mobile application. So I hope all this information was helpful and that you've seen the potential of mobile apps in Africa. I also hope that we've given you enough insight on the various mobile development technologies for Android applications. So depending on your skills, resources, and your requirement, you may choose a technology that suits your needs. So don't forget to share and subscribe to our channel if you like what we do, and please feel free to drop us messages and questions in the comment section below. We'll be glad and we'll be proud to respond to your messages. So thank you for watching and see you in the next video.